Got it.
Hello, everybody. I am Dawn Cooper with Dawn Christine Photography, and today I have with me Jordan, the homesteading realtor, and I want her to talk to you guys about her passion and how her passion feeds into her real estate. So Jordan, go ahead and take over.
Thank you so much, Dawn. Yeah, my name is Jordan Denman. I am the homesteading realtor, like she said. Um, so um, I've been homesteading for the last 5 years or so in the middle of Colorado Springs, and I've fell in love with it, with gardening and raising animals and all this stuff. But I was pretty directionless when it came to a career path, and I was going into like childcare and construction and anything I could just to see what it was like. And, basically whoever hired me was who was going to get my business. And then I went out to do a property management job. I'm sorry. I haven't had enough coffee today. But I took a property management job, and I went from being a leasing agent to a property manager within 3 weeks. And I was a property manager of 64 units, and I watched these poor people, pay extra money every month because they were in this routine of getting back on their rent, and having to pay it plus like anywhere between $500 to $500 late fees, and it broke my heart, and I didn't see it as sustainable. But through every job I have had a level of new knowledge and learning of being more self-sustainable in business and in life. And that's where the homesteading really takes my heart soaring. I love to see people sustainable in themselves rather than depending on our food system or a corporate entity or whatever. And so I saw that behind a desk, I couldn't do anything for these people. And someone was like, "You have the perfect personality to be a realtor." And I was like, "Okay." So I started that journey February of 2020. Then March of 2020 happened, and the whole world went into hiding. So the market went crazy, and then I was like, "Do I really want to do this anymore?" But I just stuck with it, and I will be honest, like through the beginning of my real estate career, and really since till recently, I've been trying to hold the door of my passion closed. And what is that passion, you may ask? Gardening. So I watch a lot of people talk about prepping and being afraid of the future, and they don't know what's going to happen with Russia and whatever. Like, you can put anything in the blank. And it breaks my heart, because why are you trying to prep all these things in your house and get as much money and buy gold and all this stuff when that's not going to be able to go to the store and just buy something? If you store up seeds, or you store up skills like gardening or preserving and things like that, and you start getting into a community where you may be able to can food and I may be able to grow food, but I have no idea how to can food, we're a perfect match because we could share food and we could share skills together. And it's such a beautiful thing to be able to have a seed, put it in the ground, watch it grow from a tiny little seedling, a tiny little seedling like this, into a giant 10-foot bush of tomatoes. Mm-hmm. And you have hundreds of, well, maybe not hundreds of tomatoes from that plant, but I usually have a ridiculous amount of tomato plants. So hundreds of tomatoes. And it's like, "Jordan, do you even eat all those tomatoes?" No, but my neighbors do. My friends do. New people I meet do. I just did a podcast with Ron Young, and I brought him a dozen eggs and a little begonia plant that I cut off of the mama plant, and I just rooted it out and put it in a little container, and he was like overjoyed about it, and I'm just like, yay. And I don't know, I love to share the passion of gardening and being self-sustaining, because it's not really being self-sustaining, it's allowing, I'm a Christian, it's allowing God to really take hold of your heart and like show you his creation. And that's one thing that I love about gardening, is that that's where I really connect to God the most. Um, yeah, I don't know. I could ramble on.
That's awesome. Now when you are working with a buyer or a seller, you know, a lot of realtors have those gifts that they give at closing time. What do you do? Do you use your product? Do you use the fruits of your labor to share with them that, or do you do something else to support local businesses? Like, what does that look like for you?
So I'll be honest, I haven't gotten into like bringing the gardening into it. I will give them like a few packs of seeds or whatever, because like the people I work with best are people who enjoy plants, or at least have an interest in plants and
Mhm.
homesteading and that kind of a thing. So through our transaction, through the beginning of our relationship, I will try to get to know them and what kind of plants they like, what, you know, do they like chickens and blah, 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 that kind of a thing. My most recent client, she is a crazy chicken lady just like me. She has a bunch of chickens, and she wanted to the rental house that she bought was going to be like chicken themed, and so she's gonna actually build a chicken coop in the backyard there, and we're gonna team up together and build a garden that's connected to the chicken coop. And when we finally closed, we weren't ready to do the full garden or the full chicken coop yet. But I went online and I found it's a small business, but it's down in Houston, and they make little signs, and the signs are like chicken themed. And so it's like the one I got her was said, "I love my ladies," and it had different cartoon chickens on it, and she loved it. Um, but yeah, so like I said, until recently I have really been trying to separate it out. Even though I dubbed myself the Homesteading Realtor, I've been like trying to fit myself into a little realtor box, like what a realtor is supposed to look like and what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to talk and that kind of thing. And I realized that people were turned off by me,
Mhm.
and I hated it and they hated it, and I just thought it was gross. And so recently I was like, all right, I'm going to stop trying to close this door of gardening and homesteading and my passion. And since I've opened up about wanting to serve the community and build gardens and teach people how to grow and teach people how to be self-sustaining and teach people that homesteading is not having a farm and having animals and having plants. It's a mindset of wanting to get closer to nature, wanting to get closer to where our food comes from. And I love that. Like that is so exciting to me. So I've gone to networking events and I've gone on podcasts recently, and I'm just like, I'm a crazy gardener, but I also do real estate. So I'm switching my paradigm, I guess, of how I want people to perceive me. And I'm not a realtor who gardens. I'm a gardener who real estates.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think in Colorado, you're in a perfect place for that because I mean, you know, there's a lot of like tree hugger granola, like earthy people, I feel that come to Colorado. But I mean, we've
Mhm.
got besides the climate that we have that might, you know, do have some challenges. I think you're really in a good place to help people like that. And I mean, even people who have a small backyard, it's feasible for them to have a garden, right? I mean, even if it was just for their own family and not to share with others, they could still have a small enough garden that they can supply their own needs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was talking to the ladies at the Colorado Spring or the Colorado Wonder Woman networking group. We got together, and uh, I was telling them that if you want to be a homesteader, you can have a basil plant on your counter and you're a homesteader.
Uh-huh.
You just like, if you want to take control and just have something to where it's like, oh, I have basil, I'm gonna go put it on my pizza. Like that's being a homesteader. But you know, if someone wanted to garden but all they could afford was like a condo or a townhouse, like I don't know if you know, if you do know, you know what a townhouse looks like and what
Mhm.
their little backyard is.
Yeah.
It's literally like maybe 10 by 10
If
space
they're
with
if
all
they're lucky,
fenced.
10 by 10, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. If they're lucky to even have anything fenced in, like it's ridiculous. But there are ways to do something there. You can get a pallet and put netting or something on the bottom of each level of the pallet and put dirt in that and grow strawberries out of that, grow lettuce out of that, anything with shallow roots. So this is the kind of knowledge that I have just been collecting and eating up the last 5 years of my life. And it's like people don't know this, but it's so natural to me. And I'm like, man, I really wish that people could have something to find joy, even if they're in an apartment. Like I had a friend that I met through the homesteading community on YouTube, where she was telling me that when she was living in an apartment with her son and her husband, it was a 2 bedroom apartment or like a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, and she had a little tiny like a tiny balcony on the second floor, and she raised meat rabbits
Mm,
and like processed them herself in her apartment.
mm.
And like you can be a homesteader, you can be self-sustainable to any degree anywhere you are. And there's a saying in the homesteading community, it's it's grow where you're planted.
Nice.
And so in this market, you kind of take what you can get,
Mhm.
especially as a buyer. As a seller, you can kind of get the world. But then they turn into buyers and they either have to go out of state or downsize
Right.
because it's just so hard in this market. But that doesn't mean that they can't be self-sustaining. That doesn't mean that they can't love where they grow or love where they're planted. And that's my passion for in my real estate career, is showing people that regardless if you're here or there or wherever you are, there's hope to be sustainable.
That's so awesome. And so if somebody wants help with gardening, do you have a podcast or are you available for chat? Like how can somebody get in touch with you if they have questions about they want to get started? Like I'm in a 2 bedroom apartment and I mean I've got like 5 or 6 just plants, greenery, and it's in tucked in a corner. But I mean, yes, you can, whatever little space you have, you can do this. So
Mhm.
how can people reach out to you? Are you available? Tell us, how to get in touch with you so they can find out more.
Mhm. So Facebook is what I'm on all the time, basically. And then Instagram as well. I do have a YouTube channel. It's not connected to real estate very much at all. It's really just kind of documentation of my life and my gardens and this and that. And so if you want to see that, that's cool. But I don't usually link that to everything. But it is under the Homesteading Realtor. So if you Google Homesteading Realtor, you'll find me. Hopefully I hope the algorithm is doing that. i
Well,
know i'm the I know I'm the only homesteading realtor. There's a homestead realty in Colorado, but I'm the homesteading realtor. But yeah, I mean, on Facebook you can instant message me or my phone number is all over there. Yeah, and then it's the homesteadingrealtor@gmail.com. I'm pretty plain.
hey, it's easy to find when you just got it that simple. Well, we can also link your information in the post. So if anybody wanted to buy or sell a home and needs help with real estate, you can contact Jordan. And if you want to get some tips and tricks on gardening and being self-sustaining, we can get you connected with Jordan. Jordan, thanks for being with me today. I am Dawn with Dawn Christine Photography, and I am a real estate photographer. And I met Jordan, and we had coffee, and I was just blown away by her passion for this gardening, and just thought it would be a great thing to have her on. And so, thank you for joining me today, Jordan. And we'll see you all another time.
Thank you so much for having me.